Hey, everybody. We're here live, the JD Fortune podcast, Smoking in the Bandwidth. We're here with our very, very special guest, Mr. Glen Murphy, and we have Ian Camp here today at the helm. He's slowly crawling. Hi. Hey, how's it going? Can you guys hear us okay? Give me some, okay, great. Great. Okay, so we're going to start off, Glen.
JD.
Thank you for being here, man.
My pleasure.
This is great. I've been a fan of yours since I met you.
July?
Yeah, right. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Glen is an RCMP officer. He is amazing. He's a hero. He is one of the pillars of this community, and he's a guy who puts his life on the line for people like us. So please pay attention to what he's saying. This can be a great episode, and I'm really grateful that he's here. And I want to start off by asking you, what year did you join the RCMP?
I joined I was sworn in October 30th, 1990 at RCMP headquarters in Toronto, Ontario, in Jarvis Street.
Okay, and what was the process? Like, when I joined the Army, I had to go down and fill out a whole bunch of stuff, and hopefully they called you and, recruited you. Was that a similar process?
Yeah. So I had applied actually the day after I graduated from high school.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I knew what I wanted to do since I was 5 years old.
Nice.
And when I was I'm from Pictou County,
Yep,
as you are.
Pictou strong, baby.
Yeah, Pictou strong. Yeah, great place to live.
Absolutely.
So I went down to the Stellarton Detachment day after I graduated from high school in 1985. Put in an application. I wasn't 19 yet, but they took my information. I couldn't officially make an application, but they said, we'll take your name and whatnot, and we're going to forward it.
Okay. Is it 19 because of the firearms laws? Is that why?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I was wondering.
But that makes sense.
Yeah, I was wondering because, like, you can't buy is it 19 that you have to, 19 years old to buy a gun, I think?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So what inspired you to apply in the first place? And when you were accepted, were you like, holy shit, I got in?
I remember the day that I was accepted. But what inspired me, like I said, I wanted to be a policeman since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I remember.
Why? What happened at 5?
I don't know.
Yeah?
You know what? I don't know.
Born protector.
Yep.
Right
In all my life, I've enjoyed helping people and trying to help them be successful or whatnot. But it's funny because I remember I was in grade 1 at the White School in Thorburn and drawing a picture of a police car. I can't remember the teacher's name. I think it was Mrs. McDermott.
Of course you
so.
Remember. Yeah. See?
Yeah. It's
where
weird.
You got the
it's
job,
weird
baby.
The stuff that you remember. And I said, I handed the picture in, and I said, that's what I want to be.
Oh, wow.
And everything I did in my life was geared towards preparing myself to get into a police force. So the RCMP, it was around high school when that became my dream.
Okay.
I decided that's what I want to do.
Does that change your view on other kids in the school at high school at that age? Do you start looking at people, like, do you start preparing yourself to be an observer at that point?
That's an interesting question. I just wanted to be a cop.
Right.
I just, I don't know why I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And it's funny, when I did my senior thesis at St. FX University in '89, my professor, he said, like, so why do you want to be a policeman? I said, because I want to help people. He looked at me and he said, why don't you become a nurse?
Wow, that's a great...
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm a problem solver, and I enjoy trying to help people through their problems, and after 29 years of policing, I've become pretty good at it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of problems, were there lots of challenges that you didn't realize were going to be there when you went through your training to become an RCMP officer? Like, do you have to? I know there's a couple schools, but the RCMP actually has a school that, like,
Yes.
even if you went to like a Holland college and got accepted, you'd still have to do the specific Royal Canadian Mounted Police training, right?
Yes. So
Was anything there take you off guard? Were you like, wow, like?
It was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
It was 24 weeks of
Holy
go,
shit.
6 months, yeah. And it was just, you're up at 5 and you're not done until late at night. And
Damn.
then, yeah, every single day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So they're draining you. They're seeing what you're made of at that point.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And starts right in drill. The drill corporal, they put you through basically what they do in training, just like in the military, they break you down, then they start building you up again.
Okay.
And
They want you to feel you are an army of one, but at the same time, you're part of a huge unit.
Team.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, I totally get that. I've got a couple of questions here that some people have asked me to ask you. Was there any, this is a good one, this is from a friend of mine. Were there any laws that you didn't know were laws? Is there anything that you didn't know was illegal until you became a police officer and you went, wow, I didn't know you, like, his example was someone told him that spitting on the streets of Toronto is illegal, and if you're seen by an RCMP officer, so he wanted to know if that's actually a law.
Well, so that would be a bylaw. That would be a
bylaw.
city bylaw.
Okay.
That would be enforced by the Toronto City Police. As a matter, I tell you, the strangest law I've heard, and it's the dumbest law, and it's still in the books from it's still in the books from what I understand.
Right.
But I mean, obviously, we're not going to enforce that.
Right.
That's just wrong. But in Pictou, the town of Pictou had a bylaw that prohibited, if you were black, you were not allowed in town limits after 9 o'clock.
No way.
Can you believe that?
I've heard about that in a few provinces in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, so I mean, like that's like when you talk about that's what comes to mind immediately.
That's wild.
Yeah, it is.
When I was traveling, especially in Australia, there was I went to Broome, Australia, and they had a bylaw: do not serve the locals, the Aboriginal people, after 7 p.m. They couldn't buy a drink after 7 p.m. at a bar or from a liquor store. So there was this whole other sub-unit of criminals that would sell them bootlegged booze after 7 p.m.
So that law is actually enforced.
Okay.
Is it enforced?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
Crazy.
we were there, and hey, can we get a drink? And no, and you just see them walk. They went from like patio to patio.
Yeah.
No. And I was like, wow, that is really strange. Okay, the one I wanted to know is it true that there is no cutoff age to becoming a member of the RCMP?
There is no cutoff age.
Wow, you guys hear that? You can join anytime if you've got the balls.
Yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, there is a member over in Rawdon Hills at the detachment there. She was 46 or 42 when she went through. She had a full career as a nurse.
Okay.
And when I met her a few years ago, I think she was already in for 5 years. So it blew me away. And
That's awesome.
And then after because at one time there was a cutoff, but they're encouraging more and more people. We're getting teachers that have had full careers, nurses that want their initial dream was to become a police officer. And so now they're getting a second chance, or like kind of having a second career. So,
because you've been in it so long, can you tell now if a new recruit who's been like, oh, you got 2 years, buddy, this is not for you? Can you tell like when you're not cut out, like if someone's not cut out for it? And do you ever say to them, hey man, just get behind me, my shout, just follow me, and you might learn something?
No, I don't.
Okay.
There have been, now I've been in Pictou County. I was very fortunate to get posted back here in 2000.
That's amazing.
Came here in Highway Patrol.
Yeah.
We became a traffic service unit. I was there for 6-7 years, got promoted within the unit, stayed for another few years, and then on detachment.
That's awesome.
So I've been very fortunate to stay here. And yes, in my 19 years here, I have seen some recruits come through, or a couple that I don't quite think this is for you.
Right.
However, they're still a member.
Yeah.
And we have to look out for one another.
Right, exactly. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And I see my role as a senior member as well. Now, I am retired, so I'm back to being a constable.
And thank you for being here, man. This is great.
I'm back to being a constable, but especially when I was a corporal supervisor, it's my job as a corporal supervisor to help coach and mentor members to bring them up to being good police officers.
Right. Is there some things that you can't coach? Like if a guy's just going to continuously get nerved out being on a scene, if there's, a fatality or something, if they're just like, I can't handle this. Are there practices and methods that have been tried, tested, and true to say, okay, first think about this, then think about this. Are there mechanisms for everything that you encounter as an RCMP officer?
Well,
do you get trained for everything, or are you out there being an artist and being like, I'm just going to problem solve and I got to de-escalate and bring,
A lot of it is experience.
Okay.
A lot of it is experience. So when you talk about being at a fatal scene, a good friend of mine who's also posted here, and we went to high school together here at East Pictou. Yeah. There was a crash, gosh, I can't remember how many years ago it was now, but we were on traffic services. This, yeah, it'd be 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago.
Okay.
Bad crash. It was in the fall, slushy roads down Marshy Hope, and the lady was thrown from the car. And apparently it was somebody that we went to school with. But yeah, wow. It really hit him hard.
Wow, so, man.
And I was in charge of the traffic unit at that time, and it's my responsibility to make sure, like as the senior member or supervisor on the scene, to make sure that our members can do the job, are safe, and we also have to look out for one another, like when it comes to our mental health. So I said, Shane, you go.
Yeah.
We got this.
Yeah.
We got this. Because I could tell he was having a hard time.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen to anyone.
Does it ebb and flow? It must ebb and flow with everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, earlier we were speaking, and you know, and all my fans are quite familiar with the depression that I've suffered through, especially throughout my career, and which was really, I felt it was robbing me of the joy that I should be experiencing while everybody else was going, yeah. I was pretending to go, yeah, you know, and then I'd go back to my hotel room and bury myself in whatever I could find, you know, because I just thought, I'm a piece of shit, I'm a whatever. Do cops go through that same, like, do you question yourself, or does it come a time where you're like, I'm so confident in this, and can that be dangerous? Can overconfidence be dangerous?
Overconfidence can be dangerous, but like we receive really good training every single year.
Oh, I didn't know that. So you have to re-up your training.
Yeah. So here in Nova Scotia,
yeah.
We have what we call block training. So we go for like Monday to Friday every 2 to 3 years to get recertified on taser, on carotid control.
Don't tase me, bro.
No, don't worry. That's
I noticed you brought one. So.
I didn't have enough room in the truck. I had to bring that.
Oh, okay. So that's not it. Okay. Woo!
So it's constant training, and our training now is more scenario based.
Okay.
And and our trainers, they got to be some of the best in the country.
That's awesome.
They take training themselves to make sure they're giving us the best training. So we do a lot of self-defense training, get recertified in baton, pepper spray, CEW, and these are done. And then we run into do scenarios where these are it could be actual complaints that we're going to.
Okay.
And
like real time, real world.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
It's scenario on, and you've got your cover officer. You're being graded on how you handle this situation. And,
this is no walk in the park. This training. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, can I ask you? Let me interject. Seeing how intense and what a community and a family that you said, do you have any family members that are in the RCMP, and have you ever encouraged anybody in your family to maybe step out of their comfort zone and become an upstanding citizen?
That's a really good question. I don't have any other family members that are in the RCMP. I do have a brother who is with the actually spent 28 years with the Navy and Air Force.
Wow. Okay.
He's retired.
So you got hero in your blood, man.
Yeah.
Glen, dude.
My grandfather, who is still, and I talk to a lot of the old timers around here, and they say, Murphy, why do I know you? So I tell them who my dad is and who my grandfather is. Your grandfather.
Used to kick the crap out of everybody.
I remember when he was a cop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's great.
He was a police officer with New Glasgow after the war for 12 years, and then I think he was chief of police in Trenton for a few more after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was that something that you looked up to when you were a kid? Where you're like, hey, that's almost like it's almost like my birthright. I should be kind of like falling.
Not
no?
really. No.
Okay.
No, he was just Papa Tom.
Oh, that's
right?
fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Tom.
That's cool.
He would, he was the guy in Elmont Avenue that we'd go down and he'd call us Wing Ding, played with us and had fun and joked around with us, and it was a lot of fun.